been a while since I've done a dedicated PC build on the channel. All my previous builds were meticulously planned and executed. Not so much for this one. In fact, the only thing I'm sure of going into the build is the case. Today, we'll figure out what's going in the case, put it all together, and explain why this is my last PC build. Let's get to it. Hey guys, CJ with Elevated Systems. So I've built a PC for my oldest daughter, one for my youngest son, and my oldest son is a console gamer, so he got a sweet sim rig. My youngest daughter was perfectly happy with her M1 iMac until she lost the ability to cross-play Fortnite. For the past several months, she's been sneaking in here to play Fortnite with her tween friends on my gaming rig. This arrangement is not sustainable, so it's time to swap out her iMac for a gaming PC. Since she's the youngest, this is my last PC build. That's it. They each get one. If they want another PC, they need to get a job and build it themselves. So, what do we have to work with? Well, a few months ago, I reviewed this Sama IM01 Pro micro ATX case, and she kind of liked it. Since we're swapping out an iMac, there isn't much room to work with, so this white compact case should fit her desk perfectly. The case will also determine what components we can use for the build. Just like all the builds I've done for my kids, we're diving into the sleeping PC part shelf. Let's go shopping. So the first part of the build is pretty simple because the only two MATX motherboards I have on hand are the B650M and the B660M, and this is the only one that's actually in the box and available. So it looks like we are going with an Intel LGA 1700 build, and that means I have a 12th gen 12400 or a 13th gen i5 13400F, and I guess we'll just go with the newer CPU. It gives us the 4 extra E cores and a little higher clock speeds and a larger cache size, so we'll go with that. And now another restriction is the only power supplies I have available are ATX full-size power supplies. So, and actually the one I want isn't here. I have a 600 watt EVGA power supply down in storage, but that power supply, the ATX power supply, will also restrict the graphics card size. Now, I was thinking about the 5700, but I think this is just a little bit too long to fit. So let's go with the Intel Arc A750. I also like this because Intel has really made kind of a commitment to keep updating the drivers for this card to continually improve its performance. I kind of like that. Okay, so we got our base components. Let's go grab some memory and storage. All right, I got a little memory and storage drawer here. Storage, I think this will be perfect. That's got our P3 plus 2 terabyte drive, and then that's some good DDR4. That's a Neo, so that's optimized for an AMD build. Let's see, this should be our, yeah, DDR4 3200. That should work pretty well for this build. And now I just need to go get that PSU and grab a cooler. Okay, I went and grabbed those last two components, and I could go with this trusty and super affordable Vetro V5 tower cooler for this build. I mean, I could even use the included Intel stock cooler, but since I have it, and I'm pretty sure it works with the extension bay in this case, I grabbed this Enermax Aquafusion Advanced 240mm AIO. I'm pretty sure it works. I can't remember if I tried a 240mm AIO with an ATX PSU in the Sama case, but we'll find out. And I've got the EVGA PSU here, and as you can see, cable management is going to be interesting. I also grabbed a pack of the Arctic P12 fans for some bottom intake to give us that stovepipe airflow. So I guess it's time to cut to the gratuitous build montage. Now, since we're replacing an iMac, we're gonna need a display. For this build, I have an Amazon accident. See, I ordered a Scepter 27-inch 1080p 165Hz display, but what arrived was a 27-inch 1440p 165Hz display. A happy accident indeed. The ARC A750 should handle most games at the higher resolution, just at a slightly lower frame rate. To finish off the setup, I'm carrying over her Cooler Master SK650 keyboard and MM711 mouse from her iMac setup. She never did like the Magic Mouse and keyboard. With the setup complete, I installed Windows, installed and updated all the drivers and BIOS. After tuning the system, it was time to get some performance baselines, and my tuning must be spot on because I achieved,
audience, say it with me, legendary
in both Steel Nomad and Time Spy Extreme. And a quick Shadow of the Tomb Raider benchmark at 1440p high showed me just how much Intel is continuing to improve this graphics card, as that is 6.5% higher than I got at 1440p medium just a year ago. So it was time and I jumped into the game the system was built for, Fortnite. It took some time playing with the settings until I found a sweet spot. This also included discovering that the performance mode API didn't work so well on this system, resulting in super choppy frame rates and ultimately crashing. Not a big deal in this case, however, as I typically only use the performance API for really low-end or integrated GPUs. For this system at 1440p with some custom settings, I was able to manage some really smooth gameplay, averaging 128 FPS. Next, I tried Apex Legends, shooting for more competitive frame rates at 1440p. With some low settings, it nearly maxed out the 165Hz display with an average FPS of 157. Halo Infinite, 1440p medium settings, gave me very playable results. Now, regardless of how well Helldivers 2 has restored its reputation, the game has definitely optimized its performance over the past couple months. At 1440p with a mix of medium and high settings, I was able to achieve a very playable 84 average FPS with the smoothest gameplay thus far, as indicated by the 1% lows. Finally, I finished up my testing with a game my daughter has actually expressed interest in, Pal World, and at 1440p high, the game was super smooth and playable at an average of 68 FPS. Overall, I'm pretty impressed with the system's performance. It's encouraging to see measurable improvements to the Alchemist graphics with each driver and firmware update. Hopefully, this continues even after the Battlemage GPUs hit the shelves later this year. I'm also impressed by the price to performance ratio. As built, this PC costs just about $1,000, and all these components can still be bought brand new. Just a couple of years ago, the idea of building a solid 1440p capable gaming PC seemed like a distant dream at this price. The thermal and sound performance is also outstanding. During a 20-minute Port Royal loop, the GPU temperature maxed out at just 84 degrees Celsius. In a 30-minute AIDA64 extreme stress test, the CPU maxed out at just 59 degrees. Now, since she's been using an M1 iMac for the past 3 years, I didn't want her first gaming PC to be a typical hurricane-level gaming PC. Using the 240mm AIO allowed me to dial in a pretty conservative fan curve, with the AIO fans maxing at just 80% and the case fans at just 50%. So despite being in a very open mesh case, the overall sound profile of the system at typical gaming loads is just 40 dBA. Just for reference, that's 2.6 decibels lower than the ambient noise levels in my office at this time of year. Now, before I wrap this up, I need to add my little PC building teaching moment. The Asus Prime motherboard doesn't include Wi-Fi, and there's no Ethernet connection in my daughter's room, so I need a solution. PCIe Wi-Fi cards are an option, but one of those would crowd the graphics card in this compact build. USB Wi-Fi adapters are another choice, but I find latency with those to be pretty bad. So for this build, I used the second PCIe Gen 3 M.2 NVMe SSD slot to add Wi-Fi with an adapter that converts the A+E key Wi-Fi card to an M key SSD slot on the motherboard. Then I connect some Wi-Fi antenna, which I attach to one of the PCIe covers. You can buy these antenna pre-attached to a cover, but I had this antenna set on hand, so I did the mod myself, and there you go. Now you have a third option for adding Wi-Fi to a PC. Overall, this build has exceeded my expectations, if I had any to start with. Remember, I began this project only knowing what case I was going to use. Somehow we went from complete uncertainty to a fantastic system that delivers great performance, thermal efficiency, and low noise levels, all at a pretty reasonable price point. I'm thrilled with how it turned out, and I think my daughter will be too. And now, this is the part of the video where I typically surprise my daughter with her new computer. However, she's grown from a kid to a young woman since the last time she's joined me on camera. I hope you'll understand, but I won't be inviting the internet into my 13-year-old daughter's bedroom this time around. Plus, we actually just dropped her off at basketball camp this morning, so you're actually seeing this a whole week before she will. And I can pretty confidently assure you she'll love it. And if you want to show us some love, be sure to give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to Elevated Systems and hit that bell icon so you never miss an update. If you have any questions or comments, drop them down below. I love hearing from y'all. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.